Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches here. Welcome to my channel where together we sew. If you're brand new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell for notifications so you'll know when I post videos like this one or when I go live. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I love seeing you all in the comments down below. So today, yay, is week 1 of the Fort Worth Fabric Studio Dark Flight Mystery Sew Along. I can't wait to get started on this. I know a lot of you out there have been anticipating this, so I'm looking forward to sewing with you guys today. So I'm not going to make a cutting video this time around. The cutting took a while. It would have been a pretty long video, and I don't think most of you would have wanted to watch it. Plus, we all have different cutting styles. So rather than me sitting there cutting and you watching me, I'll just let it cut. You cut it the way you want to cut it. The one thing I can say is that, especially for the background fabric, you want to cut it per the diagram, so you make sure you have enough fabric for the background. All the cuts are generous. I use best press on all my fabrics, so if you're somebody who likes to best press or even starch, you should have plenty to do that and then still get the cuts that you need for this quilt. So let's go ahead and get started. So for week 1 of the Dark Flight Sew Along, we are going to make one block this week, and if you've got your directions printed out in front of you, you know it's a pumpkin. I love pumpkins, so I'm excited to do this one. Now this sew along has a lot of pieces, so make sure you stay super organized, and I've used these letters for marking my fabrics, and I'm probably going to do that every week just because there are so many pieces. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to need to do is take our A and our D pieces, the square, the 4-inch square, and we're going to put those right sides together, and you're going to want to draw a line from corner to corner, and then we're going to sew 1/4 inch on either side. So we're going to make this into half square triangles. You don't even have to cut the thread, you can just flip it around. Okay, I'm going to move these out of the way just for a minute. Okay, so grab your rotary cutter and a ruler, and we're going to cut this in half right on that line. Now typically when you make half square triangles, you're making 2 of the same size, but they did this a little bit differently, which was very interesting because I've never seen it done this way before, but kind of clever because it's, you know, less waste of fabric, because you only need 1 to be 3 inches and 1 to be 2.5 inches. So instead of making a 2.5 inch square, half square triangle and wasting a piece, and then making a 3 inch and wasting a piece, you're making both out of this one. So that's kind of neat. All right, I'm just gonna press that. I like to use friction pens. I know that's controversial, but that's what I like. But I'm just going to press that off before I press these, and I'm going to press these to the dark side, or the black. And then we're going to trim the first one down to 3 inches and the second one down to 2.5. Very clever. So if you've got a ruler like mine that has a 45-degree line on it, you're going to want to grab that to square these down. And put that line right on your sewn line. Okay, there's my 3-inch square, and I'm going to make a 2.5-inch square, I'm sorry, out of this one. That's my 1/2-inch side. So they make half square triangles like I do, where they oversize them and then trim them down. But I really like this way of doing it, because you know your blocks are or your squares are gonna come out perfect. Okay, there's the 2.5-inch one, and I'm going to set this 2.5-inch half square triangle aside just for a minute, and then we're going to grab this half square triangle, and in the next set of instructions you're going to want your last D fabric for this week, which is this 3-inch square, and you're going to want to cut this 3-inch square in half on the diagonal. Right in half. So this piece is going to be extra, so you can either put this in your scrap bin or use the extra piece that we're going to use here to make something else. So that's cut in half, and then we're also going to cut this piece in half. Now, before you cut this in half, make sure you've got it going the correct direction. So the diagram shows the cream going off to your left, upper left, and the black going down to the lower right. So I'm going to lay my ruler on here. I'm going to double check the diagram before I cut anything, because I don't want to make a mistake. Cream upper left, black lower right, perfect. And then we're going to cut this right in half from the black through the cream. Just like that. Okay? And we're going to use the lower left corner portion, not the upper portion. And we're going to put that aside. So you should have these two extra pieces, and actually we're going to make a piece that looks like this with these two, and you could actually do it again with this and use it for something else, or save these for something else altogether. They're not needed in this project, so it's just extra. So now we're going to put these two together. This is almost like a quarter square triangle, not quite, because we're missing that fourth little triangle piece. Okay, and again I'm going to press this towards the black. And then this piece should measure 2.5 inches once we trim it. Let's see where we're at right now. So we're pretty close. We're not too far off right now. So you're going to want to find half of 2.5, which would be 1 1/4. So it's 1 1/4 to find the center. I'm going to put the 1 1/4 right on the center there and trim this block. And then I'm going to turn this around and trim this whole thing to 2.5. Okay, there we go. So we've got this piece, and we need to join it with that half square triangle, so grab that. So this is going to lay with the cream to your left and the cream and the half square triangle to your upper right. We're going to join that just like this. And this is what's going to become the stem of our pumpkin. Okay, so that's the stem of our pumpkin. Eventually, we're going to join it in step 6 with these cream pieces to make the top row of the pumpkin. So you can wait till step 6, or you can do it now if you like. That way you can set this all aside. I think I'll actually go ahead and put this together now, just to sort of get this out of the way. Less pieces sitting here. Okay, and I'm going to press these guys out. So here we've got our stem piece all made. So it'll be sitting over here waiting for the pumpkin. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. Okay, now we need to grab our A, which is our background fabric, 2.5 inch squares, and we need to grab our E 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. So this is our E fabric. So I'm going to grab these, put this aside for now, and we need to grab, let's see, our F 2.5 inch squares. So these crows here. So I'm going to set these guys aside for now. And okay, so the next step, we're going to add some of these cream, kind of like a flying geese, but not quite, because we're not doing them where they're going to go the same direction on either side. We're going to do them both at the same diagonal. So we're going to add cream background, and you can draw a line here if you like from corner to corner. I've got the diagonal seam tape on my machine, so I'm just going to trust that. And we're going to do 2 of these guys in the same direction, and then 2 of the cream are going to be attached to the left, and 2 of the cream are going to be attached to the right. So I added the other cream. These pumpkins are kind of going, I can't tell if they're up or down. I put the other cream on the left hand side, so these 2 creams I'm going to put on the right hand side. And those we stitched from the bottom left to the upper right. These I'm going to stitch from the upper left to the bottom right. So just opposite directions. They're going to be on either side of the pumpkin. going to cut these all apart, and then we're going to trim them 1/4 inch away from the seam line that we made, and then press them. And if you're a scrappy person, there's some nice leftover pieces here that can make some little half square triangles. Need little bitty half square triangles, but you can do it. Okay. See how we have 2 going one direction and 2 going the other? That's what you want. Give these guys a press. Okay, now we're going to take these and I'm going to put them in the direction that they're supposed to go first. Oh, there we go. Thought I made a boo-boo for a minute. Okay, so those there and those there. Now we're going to add these guys to the opposite side. So we're going to put this here, this here, and this guy here, and this guy here. And we're going to sew this on the same diagonal that we sewed these guys. So we're going to start on the bottom left and go to the upper right. And on these, we're going to start on the bottom right and go to the upper left. So we're not making flying geese, we're making something similar, but both diagonals need to be the same direction. Okay, so I'm going to grab my ruler again, and I'm going to cut these apart, or cut them 1/4 inch away from the line we just sewed. going to press these. And see how they're at the diagonal? They're both the same way. That's really cool. Really liking this. Let's give these a press. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside for a minute, and we're going to grab our G rectangles, and then we're going to grab our last 4 F squares. And now we are making flying geese. So we're going to do one on each corner, draw or sew from the upper left to the bottom right, and then we're going to put the other one on after we trim this and press it, and do it the other way, the opposite direction. So this was not flying geese, this time we are doing flying geese. So again, trim these 1/4 inch away. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to add these pieces on the opposite side, and you're going to start up here and sew down this way, or that corner to that corner, it doesn't much matter, as long as you create 2 diagonals going towards each other to make a flying geese. And then we're going to trim these away. There we go. And we're going to press these guys. Yeah, it looks like a flying geese to me. And we have our second one. Okay, now let's see what's next. Okay, we're going to grab our G piece, which is going to be the center, the very center of our pumpkin. And then we're going to grab our F, the crows, and one of those is going to go on either side of our G piece. goes this side. And then we're going to grab our pumpkin pieces and put those next to the crows. So you should be lined up pumpkin, crow, whatever you call this, diamond, and crow, and then pumpkin. Reminds me of like Harley Quinn or something. Okay, so we've got the center of our pumpkin. Now we need to create the top and the bottom. So we're going to do that with these flying geese pieces. So these are going to go just like that. And then we're going to add these guys just like this. So your cream should be at the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right of the outside of all four corners. Your crow fabric should be touching the crow fabric on the flying geese and the diagonal flying geese pieces. Okay, so I've made that piece. I'm going to do the same thing up here. Okay, so we grab our pumpkin stem over here. I'm starting to see a pumpkin. All right, I'm going to add this piece to the bottom of our pumpkin. It doesn't matter, there's not pressing instructions, at least not that I read. I don't read patterns very good, I should. I didn't see any pressing instructions though, so press it whichever way you're comfortable with, but I would definitely press it opposite directions. That way they will nest really well. You can also pin to make them go together better. Lined up really well, and I'm going to add the top piece to here, and then we're going to put that stem on and we're going to be done. Okay, now I'm just going to add the stem, and then I'm going to give the block a final press. Okay, there's my pumpkin. All I need to do now is just give it a good press. So here's my pumpkin block completed. It's all ironed up and super cute. I love it. I love pumpkins. It's my favorite part of fall. I like lots of things of fall, but pumpkins I think are my favorite thing. So I'm really excited that we got to make a pumpkin. I can't wait to see what's coming next week. Don't forget that this is a 5-week sew along, so this week was the cutting and the pumpkin block, and then we're going to sew together for 4 more weeks, so this will go through September 26th. If you are watching this video and you would like to participate, you can download the PDFs and use your stash, or you can head on over to Fort Worth Fabric Studio and order a kit. As of filming, they still had some kits left, and they get them out to you very quickly, so it'd be very easy for you to catch up. So I hope you sew along with me. I'd love to hear if you're sewing along with me, so if you're watching and you are sewing, pop a comment down in the thing below and let me know that you're sewing along. And I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Have a great one. Bye.